I guess overall, what's it feel like to be back on the field, and I guess what do you even focus on a day like today?
There's a lot going on out there, that's for sure. It's great to be back out there. Excited you could, things that we've talked before, retention, playing in December and the benefits of that, and to kind of see the confidence and the leadership of our guys kind of take hold right away from the start. Fair amount of newcomers kind of jumping in and getting a feel for how we go about it. So it was great. It was exciting, and like I said, there's now here in about 45 minutes we'll jump in on the film and really start, looking at the pace we're going. It's hard to really get a lot of things. I don't want to say corrected or evaluated, but there's so much there that we're looking at that now it's that now you go back in the classroom and you get it corrected tomorrow in the meetings.
And you do 6 practices, I think, before spring break.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking to get accomplished during this first portion?
Well, again, you have to go with the spiders and the helmets on and get a lot of things introduced, establish, again, our expectations. Again, there's a lot on in all 3 areas of the game. We have to, we're going to concentrate on, obviously, installation, some off-season, studies and analysis of what we did well and where we have to improve. Evaluate some of those newcomers, like I said before, working our physicality on both sides. Some emphasis on the outside perimeter game on both sides of playing it and being physical, and also, still, probably adding in and looking how, what we're doing offensively to be creative and kind of vary and break tendencies and those things and all that. So there's a lot to it, offensive line-wise. Continue to create competition at spots, moving a few guys around some different spots, all those type of things. So.
I don't think we saw Patrick Joyner out there today.
Yeah.
What's his status?
Yeah,
looking like?
he should be hopefully out there. We're hoping he'll start some stuff maybe Saturday, I think, at the latest is what we talked about.
Is it injury related?
Yeah, it was just small. It was a small setback, but he's anxious and where he should be. And a lot of this is, a little bit preventative too for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned the newcomers, are there any that excite you to see them get going?
Oh, all of them. I'm excited to have them part of this program. I know where the traditional questions probably will lie with some of you. I mean, you mentioned him, J.B. Brown, another one excited, Austin Booker, Gage Keys, Devin. Watch those guys on defense. I'm excited to see them all. There's a lot happening there. So there's a lot that is still early to make a judge on. Anyway, I just want to see where the competition's gonna put itself. I put Kobe Baines almost in this group a little bit too because he joined us so late, and he's got a little more familiarity. But kind of excited to see where he goes. Big Spencer, another guy. Like I said to you guys before, really looking back after our first season, the amount of upperclassmen we lost in that backup offensive line, I think really kind of, caused a little bit of gap of maturity and development there that we're trying to catch up on. And as some of those guys get older, Nolan and DK and some other guys, now we're trying to balance that group in there. So I think that's really helping us. Mike Davitsky won't do much this spring as he heals up. So it's going to give us some opportunities to work multiple guys at center and continue to create more depth and versatility.
You mentioned Patrick and Mike. Is there anyone else you think is going to be limited or just not available?
Well, yeah, Kenny won't do. We'll hope we'll get Kenny some work, some indie drills and stuff maybe in the back half of spring, but he's not going to do much. Marvin Grant will be limited most of the spring as well. Tanaka Scott didn't go today. We're trying to get him back. I think those are the main ones right now. Jalen will still be kind of monitor, how much throwing he'll do, things like that.
When a guy like Kenny's out for however long it is, what are you looking for him to accomplish? What do you want him to focus on? If he's
Well,
not-
again, Kenny's got, Kenny knows individual things that he wants to address and work on, and as we come out of spring break, I think he'll be able to concentrate more on those. Again, there's other ways to develop and grow as you rehab and do other things. It's other parts of the game and understanding, not always have to do it. Continue to work on leadership and things, understanding not just what he does with the defense, but maybe this gives him a chance to watch and understand what happens in front of him and why a little bit more, that understands the fits and things like that. A lot of things that he can do and will do during this time. Some things in special teams that we wanted him to be part of, probably fall camp, that allow him to continue to grow for his future. And so there's things we've talked about.
I think Jackson Satterwhite was working with Coach Fuchs, looked like in maybe a coaching role. Is he done playing football for you guys?
Yeah, Jackson's taken a medical hardship. He's really fought through a lot of back issues, and and as much as he wants to, but boy, he's jumped in and his father's did some junior college coaching and things like that, and you can see it's in his blood, and he's jumped right in, and I think he's got a real bright future at it if he really wants to do this, and I think he does, and he as much as it was these were conversations that he fought through a long time, and most guys would have probably checked out a lot sooner than what he did, but it was determined for the best for the longevity of his well-being for life and life after football that this decision was made. But as we kind of went through it, we proposed that we wanted to have him around, and man, he's around the building as much as anybody right now, and that's really cool to see.
I know it's just one practice, but athletically in the front seven, does it look a little different, when it's just live and you're out there?
Yeah, that's hard, and I sure hope it does. I mean, but we lost a lot of older players up in the front four, and there's going to be a learning curve there. But like you said early, just some initial things of watching some of the newcomers. But again, I know I think it's human nature that we dwell on a lot of the new additions, but I think one thing we all learned last year is that what the competition did in the spring that made guys that were in the program better. And I go to the linebacker position last year, a Taiwan Berryhill and guys like that. So I'm excited about the continued development of Tommy John Jr. and DJ Withers, and where Ron McGee and Keenan Caldwell, where are they in this rotation of things? Caleb Taylor's a guy that's very steady. As he continues to grow and mature just personally in this defense, where's that going to be? We know Hayden Hatcher's going to play hard for us and do some things that way. Jeremy Robinson continues to get better and more confident and establish himself as a respected leader in this program. So those are the things as well that you want to see it come, and when the pads come on and we start doing those things. I think we have every guy still, we all, coaches included, have plenty to work on. But the Rich Millers and the Craig Youngs, now Craig's in his second spring with us, so all those things should help us. I know we mentioned O.J. Burroughs is a guy who's an excellent athlete, but I think with Kenny's personality and his experience, O.J. didn't always have to be the leader of communication, and this is going to help O.J. in so many ways of being out there with other guys that he'll have to do it. I think Mason Ellis and Caleb Purdy, Jalen Dye, those guys, we need to see who in that group is going to kind of surface to be in the rotation of guys that are going to step up. So I'm excited about that at this time because that's what's going to help us take another step as a program.
Coach, given a couple months of perspective now, what's your sense of how the guys are reacting to the bowl game, achieving so many great goals and doing so much? That's when they come down because so close and a thrilling finish. Do they want to? You think they're going to be able to use that for inspiration, or they want to put it behind them, or what's their attitude?
Well, I think we don't spend a lot of time talking about it in that regard, I guess, but I think there's a confidence factor of getting there, but I think there's that sense of determination now to again, take another step in our program, inconsistency, a day at a time, week at a time to earn another opportunity there and then see where that takes us. And that is so many months away. I don't want to get ahead of us as we have to, stay focused there. But I do feel there's a different sense of pride and confidence that now we can line up with people and do things on a weekly basis. We've been able to show that for a long time, but there's still an understanding of we have to be better in some areas to be able to be there each and every week, and I think we're on the right path to work to do that.
I guess what was it like yesterday, seeing the players' reaction when they showed them the video of all the facilities and upgrades coming?
It was great. It was I really want to again thank Travis and Chancellor Gerard again for the pace in which we are operating to change this program, and the resources and understanding that they have in this when we talk about it. I was able to get my days straight here. About 10 days ago, 12 days ago, took Jalen and Rich Miller went down with me to view the sample locker of what, and Rich was familiar with because we worked with this company in Buffalo, and it had the model of what we did in Buffalo compared to the one we have now. And it's like it's a night and day difference of what it is and what it can do and what the guys have now. I don't even know fully if they'll understand it until it's all put together and what the plan is, and as this plan continues to be finalized and then revealed, it's going to be a difference maker for us in so many different ways. But it was neat to see and a great way to kick off the start of spring. We had talked about doing it at one time right before spring break, and but I really was glad that they made the decision to do it yesterday for a lot of reasons, as we enter a quiet period where we'll start having more prospects on campus starting tomorrow, that we're able to talk more about it. It's happening, it's going to happen, and it's not just talk anymore, and that's exciting. And kind of what you're saying as well, it was very important to me that we were able to try to do things for this current group as fast as possible for their efforts and where they're helping take this program.
When you get back to this group, and you talked a minute ago about being more physical on both sides of the ball, I know that's always an emphasis, but how do you achieve something like that in spring?
Well, it's a balance, Matt. It really is, but it's something with the demeanor and emphasis, and we started with some drills today that were implemented, that were used, that you can use in the dress format of today, but it'll pick up as we put the pads on. It doesn't, sometimes everybody says be physical. That means you're going to tackle more, but it's a mentality of how you go about it and your mindset of different things through the drill work, and we're probably going to emphasize that a lot more than we have in the past. I was going to say 2 springs, but since we've only been here 1, but through our camps and previous spring practices.
Sure, and how much do you want that to come from players, not just your coaches yelling at them to do it, but your guys?
That's fall. That to me can be, it's not all hype there. It's about going out and executing, and that again is the challenge for us to evaluate that as we're watching the film. It has to come. It's a mentality, and and sometimes you either have it or you don't, you know, and we're gonna find out where you're at. And again, I don't see us backing down from it, and we're gonna keep emphasizing it, and then you're able to, you know, I think you embrace it more. And I think this group understands it. I think our defense does, and wants to get better. And you know, again, it's, when, you know, as a head coach and as coaches, we've got to make that happen in other ways, and we'll find it.
You might have already answered this kind of in almost everything you've said, but let's fast forward to April 8th, and you're looking after the spring showcase, and you're looking back at what you just did. What would you determine made this whole thing successful this spring, these 15 practices?
Yeah, I think, again, you know, some of those answers defensively of departed players, where we're going to be rotationally, especially up front, since we don't, you know, those guys are rotating and splitting time. You know, where we, you know, the backup safety position, I think, will be interesting. The development, and I like where we're at the corner spot. You know, I think Mello and Kobe have continued to get stronger, and they got experience now, confidence, and as they continue to develop in the weight room and doing those things, you see them gain even more confidence in what they're doing. I think Caitlin Gurrid's having a really good, you know, off season so far, and he's taken that, and he's gonna, you know, play in some nickel situations. So, you know, all of that. Brian Dilworth's a player that I think has a lot of ability. Again, to see him continue to grow. So I'm looking forward to all that, where we're at with our linebacker rotation, not just the three that have started, and that'll, all those guys I just mentioned, where does that carry us in special teams, and where we're going to be better in there. And you know, we have to be better in the kicking game in all phases, and we've got to find ways to gain, whether it be possessions, yardage, all those things through that. So that'll be part of our evaluation as we go, which is sometimes difficult in the spring because you're not doing a lot of full. It's more mainly technique, but we'll continue to work that way. So, yeah, and you know, I look at, you know, where we're at running back. I know you didn't add, you know, Daniel Highshaw did not practice today, and will be held for a while yet. But I thought Dylan McDuffie, you know, Dylan knows our system and knows how we practice. He probably, and that showed today right away, because he knows what's expected of the back and finishing and ball security, all that. So it was great to see him kind of jump in and go, you know, and he'll have a chance to help in various roles. So the receiver position, okay, we have, you know, who's going to be, you know, again, that's a nice core. Who's gonna step up, maybe separate themselves a little bit more. The tight end position and all the flexibility we have there, that's going to be another thing we will continue to look at. So, you know, it's expected, of course, that we're going to get better. How much better are we going to think in 15 practices is going to probably be the best way to look at it. It's unique, I guess, Matt, is that, you know, we used to sit up here and talk about all the things that we had no idea what we were really gonna, what we're watching, what we're doing, how far we have to go, and we do now, and now it's a matter of we keep raising the expectation for us to get better.
With Daniel, was that expected that he wouldn't be around for the start, or is that a setback from last?
You know, I guess I didn't have one. You know, he was going through some. You know, he's been doing drills, this and that, and then, you know, like Tanaka Scott. Okay, it's a muscle thing. It's not the injury. Okay. So.
I think you had like 88 players, just I'm just counting through, that at one point took a red shirt. Can you talk about what the importance of the redshirting process is, and is that a high number? Is that about normal?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that, so you kind of got me on. Well, first of all, we have about 118 guys, I think, right now. It's a lot of guys. We brought 110 into camp, so we're operating above in August right now, which was, so if you're out there watching, we're trying to get a lot done. and they're not in there doing some of the team stuff, but we're running up to 3 offensive huddles at a time. So a lot of people, and that's why some of my comments will be vague, is even more vague probably Matt than normal. So because I'll have to wait till we really go in and watch it, because you're trying to get your eyes on a lot of different things. As far as the redshirting, I like it because again, you're trying to develop guys at a, you know, especially in today's, I guess, new era of things. I think you see a lot of older players. I think we've talked in here again. Our first year, we're the youngest Power 5 football team in the country. Now that doesn't mean you still have redshirted younger players, but if we can continue to do that, develop players, keep them in there in the program, minimize attrition, I think it gives you a chance to be a successful football program.
Thanks, everyone.